nobody has really mentioned enough as far as I'm concerned, is that you got a rookie coming in Kyler Murray. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. He was absolutely spectacular. We know what he brings to the table, okay? But the questions about his size, his height, et cetera, that would be one of the reasons why he wouldn't be the conventional number one pick if it were anybody but Kingsbury that would coach it. But with Kingsbury, you are talking about a rookie coach. You are talking about a rookie coach in Arizona. This is his first year. How big of a chance is this, considering this is the same Arizona Cardinals franchise that just drafted Josh Rosen last year?
Well, I think it's Kingsbury. If you're going to hire Cliff Kingsbury, Stephen A., you're going to give him the right and the call in this quarterback situation. And that's where it's a perfect storm. It's Kingsbury and Kyler Murray together. And that's what makes him the number one pick. Like I said, if he's when Kyler Murray, couple months, it's been months ago when we knew he'd be in the draft back in August, even into October, we didn't know. We thought he'd be in Oakland A. So once Kingsbury becomes the coach and Kyler Murray's part of this draft process, it was a perfect situation for them. Now, had Kyler Murray not been in this draft, as I said, it wouldn't have been him. Had Kingsbury not been the coach, I don't think it would be Murray. Murray would be maybe down at 13 to Miami for all we know, had Kingsbury not been the coach. So this is all about that. Now, you mentioned the 5'10". We've never had that historically, Stephen A. Forget the number one pick. We haven't had that in the first or second round of the draft. You got to go to Russell Wilson at 5'10 and a half, 5'10 and 3/4. 7 years ago was the 75th pick. Now, and I always say, the first call Kyler Murray should have made months ago was like Russell Wilson and say, thank you. If I'm in the discussion to be a number one pick or a first rounder, it's because of you. And I think that's the key. Russell Wilson was the test case. He passed that test by miles, and now Kyler Murray is a number one pick because of Russell Wilson.
Let's transition to Dwayne Haskins, quarterback out of Ohio State, threw 50 touchdowns last year. Obviously, he was getting rave reviews by a lot of people, considered the number two quarterback and number one in some people's eyes a few months ago. Certainly not the case now. We're now hearing that his stock is dropping. Do you believe those reports, A, and B, if so, why?
Well, I said the same thing this time last year about Josh Rosen, that he was dropping a bit. You heard some negativity. He was not the first or second quarterback or third. He was going to be the fourth. And that turned out to be accurate, that he was dropping a little bit. The Cardinals trade up to him, but that was a 10 after three other quarterbacks had been taken. In this case, yes. It could be a similar situation where Dwayne Haskins is obviously not, if he doesn't go to the Giants, which we don't know that yet, but you hear that. And all of a sudden, could Drew Lock go ahead of him? Could Daniel Jones go ahead of him from Duke? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But there's a chance, and I think everybody's I think the Redskins fans may be holding out hope that he's there at 15. Now, will the Redskins need to trade up from 15 if he drops into that 10 spot? The Denver, we'll see. But I think the Redskins would be a really good fit for Dwayne Haskins. I think if he dropped to 15, you say, I'm disappointed that you dropped, but you go to a team that I think would lead to him maybe having a successful pro career and a fit with Jay Gruden and just a guy that I think certainly, when you look at the quarterbacks, there's not much separating Haskins, Locke, and Jones. There's really not, Stephen A., that much separating those three. It's just individual team preference. And if the Giants don't take him at 6, then it drops down, like I say, maybe to 15.
That's exactly what my next question was, what the drop-off was between Haskins and Locke and Jones out of Duke. You're trying to tell me there's really not much difference between the three?
Well, I think in the NFL team's minds, and that's what you have to go by. And I'll give you my opinion,
right.
But I think in the NFL, when I talk to NFL people, because that's what's going to determine where these kids are drafted, not what me or Todd McShay or anybody thinks outside the league. Mm-hmm. This is the league talking. The league is not that much. When the teams that like Locke like him as the number one quarterback, teams that like Jones like him up there near the top. And Murray's a wild card because you can't even grade him with the other guys because he's a complete outlier. He's a complete wild card, as Mayfield was last year. I think when you look at where they are this year, any one of those three, Locke, Jones, or Haskins, the right team picking at 6 or 10 or 15, they could take any one of those three. So I think Jones is a guaranteed first-round pick now. A lot of people, Todd McShay disagree. Now, he thinks he could go in the first. He grades him out as a late second, third-round pick. So there's mixed opinions, Stephen A., on all these guys. To answer your question, I have Locke 22 on the big board. I have Daniel Jones at 23 on the big board. I have Haskins at 6. So I have Haskins at 6, the other guys in the 20s, but that's just me. But the league you're splitting hairs with the league in terms of trying to, at least the teams I talk to, which isn't 32 teams. I'm close to that. Todd doesn't know them. We have a sampling of teams. Well, they're all over the place. They always are, Stephen A., on these quarterbacks. This is the case each and every year.
Mel Kiper Jr., the great Mel Kiper Jr., right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Who's the best player in this draft? Any position, regardless of position, who's the best player in this NFL draft?
Well, I think Nick Bosa and Quinnen Williams would be the two that jump out at you, and then Josh Allen and Devin White. I think those four defensive players, Stephen A., are, again, all the same grade on my board. They're all, you can mix and match them. You can put White one and Quinnen Williams. You can do anything you want with those four players. Nick Bosa, defensive end of Ohio State. Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle, Alabama. Josh Allen, outside linebacker, Kentucky. And Devin White, inside linebacker, LSU. All four of them. I think there's a drop-off after those four. And I'll tell you, not much, because Devin Bush, inside linebacker from Michigan, would be right in there. I would say put Bush in there at 5 as the best pure football players in terms of the defensive side or offensive side in this draft. Those are your guys right there. Now,
Mel, forgive my ignorance, but I need your education on this, because when I think about Nick Bosa, obviously he's an edge rusher. He's 6'4", 266. I think that's what he was listed as. I'm looking at this guy, and I know what this guy can do. I know everybody's been raving about him. We get it. And right. Again, everybody can't beat Tom Brady getting rid of the football in 2 to 2.5 seconds. I get that. But that's clearly ideal. If you're a football team, if you're a football coach, if you're an offensive coordinator, you can have somebody get rid of the ball that quickly, relatively speaking. That's what you would do, which to me means you neutralize edge rushers coming after you and really having that big of an impact. Right. So when you take that into consideration, why should somebody like a Nick Bosa, strictly due to the position that he plays, go that high? Educate me about that.
Well, I think it's, again, you're trying to figure out who can be the guys who can get after the quarterback, who can bend the edge, who can close. Now, you mentioned Bosa. Bosa doesn't have great speed, but he's quick. He ran 4.79, good athlete. But again, you look at him, strong, 6'3.5", 260 pounds, 65 pounds. His father, his brother, the bloodlines, the first family of defense, we call them, with the Bosa family. I think for Nick, it's going to be staying healthy, Stephen A. That's the only concern I have with Nick. Is 2 of the last 4 years, senior in high school and then this past year, injury, okay? And that's something, availability is as important as productivity or overall ability. So to me, that's the concern with him. Quinnen Williams had a great year at Alabama. He prides himself on being complete, not being one-dimensional, and he had a phenomenal workout. So when you get a phenomenal workout, on the heels of a great season in terms of production and consistency week in and week out, I said you could make a strong argument that Quinnen Williams is the best player. Devin White flies to the football like no other, and then you have certainly a Josh Allen who went from 7 sacks to 17. He's an edge guy. To your question about, hey, what's a straight line? What's a straight line? That's what bothers quarterbacks, that interior pressure. That's why Quinnen Williams is a guy that's going to go in the top 4 of the draft and could be, to answer your question, could be as the best player in this draft. He's the dominator. He's the guy right on that center guard that can really wreak havoc. And the edge guys would be Bosa and Josh Allen.
Well, one of the other D-lines, comparable to Quinnen Williams, some would say Ed Oliver out of Houston. What are your thoughts about this guy? I think he's ranked number 2 at that position in the upcoming NFL draft. Talk to me about what your thoughts are about him.
Ed Oliver is a tough one to really figure on what he will be, because he was 281 at the Pro Day. He was 287 at the Combine, so he went down from the Combine to the Pro Day. He played at 272. Yeah, 270, 275, Stephen A. He can get manhandled in the NFL. And again, I don't care how quick and athletic and fast you are, that's going to be tough as an interior defensive tackle. You got to be 280 plus and be able to. And against the run, he had some issues at Houston. So again, with the Houston Cougar team, they say, well, he's double, triple team. They'll look at the competition you're facing, look at the linemen you're facing, and look also against the run. He was somewhat one-dimensional at times. So yeah, I think Ed Oliver, if he's 280, 285. He's an athlete. He's strong. He's fast. He can. Now he didn't finish. Now he didn't have a lot of sacks. And that was an issue. That's why the Aaron Donald comparisons were exaggerated. But Stephen A., I think he's going to go. I think Buffalo at 9 is a potential landing spot for him. I don't think he gets out of the top 10. So Ed Oliver's going to go. What type of pro he'll be is really will be determined by how he can what weight. What is the weight that he can carry through the whole season? season. Not what he begins it at, what he finishes it at. And not what he's getting ready for a combine for, but what is he in December, even at the start of the season? What's he going to be as an NFL defensive tackle in terms of what he's going to be, 270, 275, or is it going to be 280, 285? That will go a long way in determining his fate as a pro.
The great Mel Kiper Jr. right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. DK Metcalf was in studio with me yesterday or the day before yesterday. Ole Miss wide receiver, 6'3", 228 pounds, got an 8-pack or a 10-pack, looked like Adonis for crying out loud. His physique is undeniable. The flip side to it is this. Somebody like him looks like a man of steel. Evidently, there was some kryptonite because he had a neck injury. He only played 7 games last year. He believes that he's got the kind of potential, and he's ranked number 1 at his position amongst wide receivers, according to some NFL draft aficionados. Where do you have him ranked? What do you think he's going to do on the next level?
I have some concerns, and I asked him that yesterday. He was up with us as well yesterday. A great kid, very humble, nice young man. Obviously, the great bloodlines with his father, uncle, grandfather, all that with Terry, Eric, and Terrence. So, he's been around it. He understands that. I think the issue with him is going to be when you look at that the short shuttle and the 3-cone drills, the numbers there were not good. Okay. And that means is he agile? Is he going to be running that route tree? Is he more than just a go route? Is he a 9 route? Is he a guy who can go beat you down the field? Is he only that kind of receiver? And I think that's can he get enough separation? Does he have enough burst out of that break? Those are things, Steve, that you would question a bit. You mentioned the durability, not just this year, 2 years ago, injured. 2 of the last 3 years he's been hurt. He only has 67 career receptions. That's it. Yeah. So there's a question with the production lacking because of the injury and the fact that he's a one-dimensional receiver right now. Can he be multi-dimensional? Can he be Julio Jones, who he said that's who he really would like to be and who he really kind of looks at his game and says, I'd like to be like Julio Jones? You got to be able to run every route, and you got to be able to get open and give their quarterback a little bit of a window. And that's something we have to find out. Can DK Metcalf do that in the NFL? That's why I think he drops into the 20s maybe after all said and done.
His teammate at Ole Miss, A.J. Brown, is ranked like number 3 amongst wide receivers. Why is he ranked less than a guy that didn't play but so many games and only caught 67 passes in his collegiate career?
A.J. Brown is a guy who's more of a slot receiver, big physical, strong, compact. You think about him, dropped a few catchable balls this year, wasn't as consistent as he had been. You look at A.J. Brown, more of an early to mid 2, who's I think going to be like now I'm going to throw his name because why was it Jarvis Landry type of player. Landry, you think about coming out of LSU with Odell Beckham Jr. Can he go pushed into the second round, and he's had a very good career. So I think if A.J. Brown can be Jarvis Landry, you got yourself another very good second round player. When
you sit here in New York City, obviously everybody's thinking about the Giants, and they think about the fact that they've got the 6th overall pick, and they're talking about a guy like Dwayne Haskins. You had him going to the New York Giants in one of your mock drafts. Do you think he's ideal for the New York Giants? Do you think that has changed? What is your thought process as it pertains strictly to the New York Giants and what they'll end up grabbing?
I do. I thought last year they should have taken the quarterback. Josh Allen, Sam Darnold. They didn't. And saying Saquon Barkley's a great player, but he's a running back, and the quarterback is more value. And it determines your fate more than a running back. As to how many Super Bowls you're going to win and whether you're going to be a playoff caliber team. So I look at this decision now. Dwayne Haskins would be my pick, Stephen A. He's not lacking. The people talk about the mobility and the 40 time. Who cares? They care about that with Tom Brady. I mean, Drew Brees isn't going to win a lot of races. So I don't get that whole thing about the 40 time and mobility. I know the weight issue. Yeah, if he gets a little sluggish in the pocket, because he's ballooned up a little bit. But I think the kid wants to be great. He seems to like he was built to be an NFL quarterback. He has that mentality. He's won. He's elevated that team. He's got tremendous accuracy. He obviously has the arm. He climbed that pocket well. He dealt with adversity in several games where he brought him back against Penn State. Was a big one at Happy Valley. What you're hearing, though, Stephen A., and this again, what you're hearing is the Giants may not go that direction. May take a defensive player at 6, come back at 17, and maybe take quarterback Daniel Jones from Duke. That's the rumor mill. That's what you hear. I'll tell you what, if they take Dwayne Haskins, they've done a great job selling it. They won't. Because what they're maybe trying to do is maybe say, okay, we hope he falls to 6. There was talk a couple months ago we would have to trade up to 3 with the Jets. Let's hope that nobody else trades up, and maybe Dwayne Haskins falls because nobody thinks we're going to take him. Maybe this is a nice smoke screen that says the Giants at 6 will take him. They're trying to throw out every signal that they don't want him, they don't like him enough. And that's what you hear. But I don't know if it's true. I can't say it's true. You're just hearing that, like saying the rumor mill, Stephen A.
But a legitimate reason for throwing out that smoke green is you're potentially trying to dissuade Oakland at number 4, Tampa at number 5 from grabbing Dwayne Haskins. I get all of that.
Or another team from trading up ahead of you.
That's right.
To take them, because now you're saying, we're a little lukewarm. So maybe the Giants are lukewarm, and then other teams, what's the matter if they're lukewarm? They need a quarterback there. So maybe they're Dave Gettleman's trying to work the process a little bit, send out some misinformation to say, okay, we don't want to trade up from 6 to 3. We don't think we want to do that. We're hoping that at 6 the quarterback slides. Maybe he's thinking that way, or maybe the rumors are true and he just doesn't like him, and he's going to take a defensive player like Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle from Clemson, or Ed Oliver, and he's going to take the quarterback at 17. I will find out. It's going to be very fascinating and intriguing to see, and interesting to see what they decide to do, because this impacts a lot. And Josh Rosen, if he's traded, who is he traded to? The Redskins, the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Giants. Who ends up with Josh Rosen after we finish this process?
Interesting, because I got a trick question for you here, or something to put you on the spot to some degree, because I know obviously you got to study the NFL as well. Who needs a quarterback more, Oakland at 4, Tampa at 5, or the Giants at 6?
Giants for number 1. They got to get a quarterback. Mm-hmm. You cannot come out of this draft without a quarterback. With Eli, they already said publicly.
But they've got the 17th pick, Mel. They've got the 17th pick as well.
I said they have to come out of the first round with a quarterback. I didn't say 6. I said the first round. So when the first round ends, they got to get a quarterback. You pass them. You can't not like all these quarterbacks. You pick somebody. Hey, people didn't like Patrick Mahomes. Some people coming out. People didn't like Phillip Rivers coming out. People said that Peyton Manning's name was Peyton Jones to be a third-round pick. You could talk yourself out of all of them, Stephen A. You got to make a pick. You got to pick a quarterback. Figure out of Jones, Locke, Haskins. Forget Murray if he goes number 1. You can't get him if he goes 1. But those 3, figure out which, or maybe it's Greer, maybe it's Stidham. Figure out one of the quarterbacks. You didn't like Allen or Darnold enough. You took Barkley. That was a mistake. Not a mistake, in my opinion.
Well, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about Jameis Winston? Because if you look at Tampa, particularly with the weapons that they had last year, even though he wasn't god-awful, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick was better. Jameis Winston struggled a little bit before coming on a little bit at times. But nevertheless, Deshaun Jackson's happy to be in Philadelphia for a reason, and that's probably because he's away from Jameis Winston. Your thoughts about Tampa needing a quarterback?
Tampa is in a position where Bruce Arians is there to try to fix for 1 year Jameis Winston. If he can't fix him in this year, they're going to, I think, look for a quarterback next year. I think they're going to give him 1 year with Bruce Arians, down to the quarterback whisperer, to say, make Jameis Winston great. If we can't now, and keep in mind, coaches have been fired already, okay? Now we got a new coach. We got an offensive guy. We got a quarterback guy. Let's see if Jameis Winston can come bring it all together. If he can't, then you go a different direction. So I don't think this is the draft, Stephen A., for the quarterback. I think it's Devin White, linebacker, LSU, or another defensive player. But I think the quarterback will be pushed off until next season, depending upon how Jameis Winston performs this year.
Who's the sleeper in the draft in your estimation, Mel Kiper Jr.?
What was that again, Stephen?
Who's the sleeper in this draft for you? Sleeper. I
like Colin Saunders, defensive tackle from Western Illinois. I think he's going to be a really good early second-round pick. I like Corey Ballantyne, a cornerback out of Washburn. Titus Howard, an offensive tackle out of Alabama State, is a guy that has really come on and developed late in his career. I think those are 3 guys that I think from the non-1A level, Stephen A., that have a really good opportunity to have successful pro careers.
And who do you think has the potential to be a draft bust?
I think Rashawn Gary is the polarizing figure. Great workouts, great talent, number 1 player coming out of high school. 10 sacks in 34 games is not impressive. These are against guys, I call them AOGs, another occupation guys. Some of these guys are going to have another occupation. They're the AOGs. They're going to have another occupation. That's who you couldn't beat. When Winovich on the other side's getting in the backfield, you're not. 10 sacks in 34 games, Stephen A. Okay, both at 17 and 29 games.
Yeah.
So that's where, again, production didn't match the talent. Will the light go on? These are the best tackles in the world. You couldn't dominate guys that aren't going to be playing football, okay, after their careers are over, so in some cases. So I think Rashawn Gary is kind of the boomer bust first rounder, in my opinion, defensive end out of Michigan.
And by the way, last thing at the tight end spot, I haven't found one individual that thinks there's a better tight end in the draft than T.J. Hockenson out of Iowa. Is that true?
T.J. Hockenson made a very wise decision leaving Iowa as a third-year sophomore and first-time contributor at a high level. Noah Fant was supposed to be the guy. He outproduced Noah Fant. He's the guy. Jacksonville at 7, Detroit at 8, Buffalo at 9, Denver at 10, Green Bay at 12. We're all thinking tight end. You could have scripted it any better for T.J. Hawkinson. I said today, if he studies the draft, he looks like he did. And maybe he didn't, but he looks like he did because he picked the perfect year as a tight end who produced and tested good enough to come out into the draft, like I say, as an underclassman with all those teams, the top 12. I just mentioned all those teams from about 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12, all looking at tight end.
The honor and privilege is always mine whenever I get a chance to talk to you, buddy. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, Stephen A. You're always phenomenal to work with.
Hey, man, I'll see you in Nashville. See you in Nashville,
Thanks,
buddy.
Pal. You got it, buddy.
All right,
Thanks,
buddy.
Stephen A. Have a good trip, man.
All right, buddy.
buddy.
The one and only Mel Kiper Jr. right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Him and Todd McShay. We don't miss anything. It doesn't get any better than this. ESPN is the place to be. NFL draft evaluations and the whole bit. These guys are absolutely positively sensational. Appreciate them both. They both were on this week. And thanks again to Mel Kiper Jr., the great Mel Kiper Jr. right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. We'll get back to your calls and more in a minute, so don't touch that dial. Stick around. Here I come. Right back at you. By the way, share the beauty of the spring season with 1-800-Flowers, exclusive 30 for 30 offer. 30 assorted tulips for just $30. To order 30 stunning assorted tulips for only $30, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Back